peeps, we are back. We are back talking The Bachelor, season 25, episode 7. So this is week 7 in The Bachelor. And oh my gosh, there has been so much going on. So before we get started, I know everyone has heard about everything that's going on over at The Bachelor, and I was a little shocked last night when the episode started and there was nothing. There was not a little blurb on the screen about how The Bachelor stands against racial injustice and how The Bachelor is not responsible for Chris Harrison's comments. It was none of that. I expected that. So, was anyone else shocked by that?
It looked like business as usual on The Bachelor last night. The show did not mention longtime host Chris Harrison's upcoming temporary departure from the franchise after drawing fierce criticism for defending one of this season's frontrunners, Rachel Kirkconnell.
Rachel, is it a good look in 2018 or is it not a good look in 2021?
Harrison thrust himself into the controversy last week by coming to Kirkconnell's defense during an interview with Rachel Lindsay. He also said that it isn't the show's responsibility to speak up on issues that flare up on social media.
We're not in the business of dealing with every problem that you have.
I was really shocked at Chris because you would have thought after 20 years of hosting The Bachelor that he would have had some sort of media training, to say the least. Another thing I was really upset with him about is I really thought that he was more in tune with reality and in tune with how it doesn't matter what year, what time, what season, racism of any form is not okay. The fact that he stood out and was so disrespectful is really shocking to me. I didn't expect that of Chris. Rachel Kirkconnell, she did issue an apology. Chris also posted an apology and announced that he would be stepping down temporarily from the show. What was really surprising to me is finding out that after 25 seasons of The Bachelor that they just had diversity training for Matt's season. So from what I'm reading in the Hollywood Reporter, before Matt's season started, they had a diversity training for all of the Bachelor employees, staff, contestants, and host. And Chris still goes out and makes these insensitive comments, caping for Rachel and disrespecting Rachel Lindsay and the rest of us. I was not okay with that. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. You know, it's rumored that she's the one that he ends up with in the end. I don't know. I don't want to judge that lady and I don't want to dislike her at all. I guess we'll just have to continue to watch and see what happens. I am hoping that they make some changes over at The Bachelor. I did see in an interview and in the Hollywood Reporter that Rachel Lindsay has decided to call it quits with the Bachelor franchise as soon as her contract is up. She says that once her contract is up with The Bachelor, she will not be re-signing because they have a huge race problem over there. And with Rachel saying that, I believe it. I also appreciate that the women of color of Matt's season all issued a statement in support of Rachel. But I also like that the men of Tayshia's season also issued a statement. There were several statements being issued, and I will let those stroll here so that you could read those. But in the meantime, let's get on to the show. And we started out exactly where we left off with Heather's entrance. Heather is giving Matt the whole backstory about how Hannah told him she would be good for him. Hannah had told her all these wonderful things about Matt. And while she's in there smiling and laughing and Matt's having a good time getting a chance to meet her, the ladies are out front crying, literally. Piper is devastated. The rest of the ladies are absolutely having a complete breakdown. How dare she come here? Oh my God, what is going on? What is going on? I mean, it is serious, okay? And I'm thinking, all right, I understand, I get it. You ladies have been here for 6 weeks. It's not okay for The Bachelor to keep dropping extra ladies in here, it makes it extremely hard, and I get it. However, there is a certain thing of patience. Sit back and wait to see what's going to happen. Don't just blow up and get all upset right away. I have done that in my life in the past when I was younger, and I realized it's not a good move. You never know what's really going to happen. Sometimes you need to sit back, relax, and wait. Just watch, see what happens. Matt thinks that Heather is a lovely girl, but he is conflicted because he knows that it's a short period of time for him to establish a real connection with her and possibly be engaged with her. But at the same time, he really respects Hannah. And if Hannah thinks that Heather would be a great girl for him, he feels as if he should probably give it a chance. But he's also thinking about the ladies that have been here this whole time, and he doesn't want to be disrespectful to their connections. So he lets Heather know that he needs a moment to think about this. Heather is on cloud nine. She's excited she had a chance to meet Matt. In her mind, he is this wonderful Prince Charming, and she goes out and she's bubbly and happy and, hi girls, you know, trying to be friendly with the women. And the women took their frustration, sadness, and anger out on her, and it was really hard to watch. But it was weird to me too, because one of the women leading the charge was Jacinia. And I said, wait a minute, Jacinia, just earlier in the night you helped Matt get rid of MJ because of her toxicity. And so now you're on here doing the same thing to Heather. They were all pretty rude.
I was on Colton season.
Okay. Oh, so you missed that one, so you tried this one?
Ruined everyone's day, and like,
my day's pretty ruined. Sorry. I don't really care, honestly, because you interrupted my time, didn't address me. So first and foremost, I would like an actual apology.
I truly am sorry.
I thought that was pretty awful, you know, and I hate to see this girl cry. I don't understand why, if Hannah had spent all of quarantine with Matt and she knew that Heather would be perfect for him, why didn't they find a way to hook up before the show? Or why didn't they find a way to get her on when all the rest of the girls came on there? It just doesn't make sense. Matt comes in and he talks with her a little bit and he breaks everything down for her nicely.
With where we're at, being this deep into the process, I don't know how it could work.
I appreciate his decision. He's being respectful of his current relationships, and he knows that it's too short of a time for him to be able to build what he needs to with Heather in order to possibly ask her to marry him. And the thing is if Heather would have showed up during the time that the other 5 ladies, the newer arrivals, showed up, she may have really had a chance with Matt. She may have really been in the running. Unfortunately, it was too late. So when she leaves, the girls are so excited. Oh my gosh. When they see him walking her out, they are just smiling from ear to ear, drying up those tears. I said, this is a shame. You guys got all bent out of shape for no reason. Relax. Matt comes back in and he apologizes to all the ladies. He lets them know that her showing up caught him off guard as well, and that no other women are coming into that house. Chris stops in to let them know that it is time for the rose ceremony. So as we go into the rose ceremony, I notice that there's 6 roses available. There's 2 women that already have roses. So that lets me know that there are definitely going to be 2 women going home. Right before the rose ceremony starts, I'm looking at all the ladies up there and I'm saying to myself, I'm very hopeful that Serena C is going home. I have not liked her, and I would like to see her go. To me personally, I think when he was letting Anna and MJ and Victoria go, she should have gone as well. That's just my opinion. As he is passing out all the roses, Chris comes in to announce that this is the final rose. And when he announces that this is the final rose, Chelsea, Abigail, and Serena C, 3 left without roses. And I said, oh gosh, please let Abigail get this rose. Abigail gets the rose. Goodbye, Serena C. So we are officially down to our final 8. The next day, Chris stops by to let them know that there will be 2 one-on-ones this week and 1 group date. And he also reminds them that next week is hometowns and he leaves them with a date card. Out of the final 8 women left in the house, Jacinia and Abigail are the only 2 women who have never had a one-on-one. All the rest of the women that are still in the house have all had one-on-ones with Matt. So when Piper reads the date card and they find out that Serena P gets the one-on-one date, Abigail and Jacinia are devastated. And I said, oh my gosh, this is about to happen. We are about to hear about Abigail getting that first impression rose. I just can't. Not the first impression rose speech again. Listen, girl, I don't want to hear about that. She goes off to her date with Matt, and it turns out that it's tantric yoga. And I said, well, the Bachelor and the Bachelorette love a little tantric yoga, right? We just saw that on Tasia season. However, this time it wasn't as weird. Turns out that Serena is not into public affection. It also turns out that she is not excited about tantric yoga. She does not like all of this. She says that they have never had the sex before, and it's weird to be doing all these sexual positions and, you know, they're not there yet. Matt tries to kiss her in the middle of this tantric yoga and she pulls back. It was very awkward. I said, oh my gosh, what is going on right now? Because it's not as if she's never kissed him before. And then she says she doesn't like public displays of affection, but whenever you kiss him, it's in the public because number one, you've got like 50 people from the crew standing around and filming, and it's on national television. Girl, anyway. One thing that you had to appreciate about her is she sat Matt down and she explained to him that this was not her favorite. This was not, you know, the date for her. She didn't appreciate it. She didn't like it, and that she was extremely uncomfortable. Matt was a little sad about it because he said that he thought that this would be a really good date for them. He thought that they were both on the same wavelength, and he was really trying to figure out, you know, if they could push their relationship further and if their connection was legitimate. And he's really sorry that she didn't have a good time the way he had a good time. And let me tell you, he had a good time. He was enjoying all that tantric yoga. However, he did respect that she told him the truth and she didn't lie and pretend that she enjoyed tantric yoga. The ladies are back at the house and they receive the next date card, and Abigail and Jacinia are sitting there and they are sad and devastated, but you know, they're just hoping that they're gonna get on the next one-on-one date. Well, when the date card is read, it turns out that it is a group date, and everyone is on the group date except for Jacinia. So Abigail is absolutely devastated. She realizes that she still is not getting a one-on-one with Matt. And they're going into hometowns next week. This is not good. I would be devastated as well. So she is really upset about this. However, Jacinia is over the moon. Matt and Serena P have their evening portion of the date, and Matt thanks her for being honest with him and letting him know that she was not a fan of the tantric yoga. And she told him, she said, it's always easier for me to be honest than to lie to you. She said, if I had lied to you and told you that I enjoyed the tantric yoga, she says, then the next thing you know, you would have probably decided that we should do it again. And then it would have just been, you know, horrible for her. So I appreciate that. I appreciate her being honest and telling him the truth. Then they talk a little bit about him meeting her family. What does she think her family would think of him? She let him know that she believes that her family would absolutely adore him. She says they did want to warn him that her sister would grill him, but she's looking forward to him meeting her family, and that she is falling in love with him, and that she does want a future with him. And he agrees. He feels the same, and he gives her the date rose, which I had no doubt that she was going to get that. And then at the end of their date, they had a little ice skating, which was really cute and very romantic, and not something that I would ever be able to do because I can't ice skate. Now roller skate, that's a whole nother thing. I can do that, but ice skate, nuh-uh. Then they moved to the group date, and the group date is just the evening portion, more of a cocktail time. Matt pulls Bree first, and I didn't expect their conversation to go the way it did at all. Bree tells Matt that here recently, while filming the show, she has had to make a decision. She either needed to leave the show to go back to her dream job, or she could stay on the show to fight for love. So she decided to resign from her dream career, her dream job, to stay there to pursue love and happiness with Matt. I said, oh my gosh. I think that's really beautiful and romantic, but at the same time, I don't think I could. If I knew that our commitment was serious, I could walk away from my dream job for the man of my dreams, absolutely. But to be a contestant on The Bachelor, and he's got 8 other girlfriends, and I don't think so. I would have had to go back to my real job. I'm sorry. You know what? If this thing doesn't work out with you and whoever you pick in the end, call me. But I'm keeping my dream job. I'm just saying. Matt was overwhelmed. He was absolutely taken aback and so happy and so shocked that she would do that. He was really, really impressed that Bree would walk away from her dream job for him. Michelle, when her time with Matt, she let him know that she is 100% committed to him, and he tells her that from the first moment that he laid eyes on her, he wanted to know more about her and he wanted to spend time with her. When Abigail goes in for her private time with Matt, I didn't get a really good vibe. The way Matt looks at Abigail is not the way he looks at Bree or Michelle or Rachel or any of them. And I was not getting good vibes. I said, oh my gosh, Abigail. But, you know, she asked him a question and she got the answer.
I can see the possibility of a future with you. I just want to know, like, can you see that possibility with me?
My heart's pulling me in another direction. I apologize.
I am truly sorry that that happened to her. I just think that it was better for him to tell her now. I think it was really good of her to ask. You know, just put it out there. What's going on? Tell me what the deal is. But I think that there is someone wonderful for her. And I think that she is absolutely going to find her happy ending. It's just not with Matt. Matt comes back into the cocktail party and he lets the ladies know that he's just walked Abigail out. And he wasn't expecting it to get to that point, but he has to go with his heart. Rachel has her time with Matt, and of course she lets him know that she's very much in love with him and that she has all these hopes and dreams of ending up with him. However, she knows that he can't guarantee or say anything to her about it, but she is all about him, and her being with him would make her the happiest girl on the planet. And it's really odd to me because her whole time talking to him, she's sniffing. I just love you, and I want to spend my life with you. And I said, girl, if you don't cut it. She was doing all this sniffing, not a tear drop, not one teardrop. I said, why are you pretending to cry? And he's just looking at her with these longing puppy dog eyes, smiling like, oh, look at her. She loves me. She's crying. But no, she's not crying. Get out of here. Matt then has a conversation with Kit, and her conversation was really good if you ask me. She came in right off the bat and told him, you know that I don't hold back. I always speak my mind, and I'm going to tell you right now. She says, I have some goals in my life. I have a trajectory of my life, and I'm not going to let anybody stop me or hold me back. She tells him that she wants to graduate college. She also wants to travel, and she needs a man and a husband who is going to respect that and be her cheerleader. She also tells him that, yes, she does want to have kids. She wants the marriage. She wants the whole thing, but she does not want to have kids until she's 25, and I believe Kit is 21, and she tells him, I hope that you can respect that. And he comes back, chuckles, he is laughing. He says absolutely. He would never hold her back from her hopes and dreams. He does not have a 5-year plan that has to be followed exactly. He is very happy to be with her, love her, marry her, and grow together. And she was on cloud 9, so much so that she just knew she was getting a date rose. Honey, at the end of the night, Rachel gets the date rose and she gets serenaded. Yes, beautiful. I said, wait a minute, when did we start at the end of cocktail parties having a serenade? That was odd, right? I was for sure that Bree was getting that date rose. Nope. So when he gives Rachel the date rose and walks out, Bree starts crying. The rest of the girls are absolutely in shock and devastated. Piper, head in her hands. I mean, these girls were absolutely floored. Hearts broken. But Rachel's all smiles, honey, because she's got the date rose and the man and a beautiful serenade. And if I was her, I would be too. I'm just saying. We see Matt back at his place and he gets a visit from Kit. Now, Kit gets there and she gives him all this yin and yang about how possibly she's not ready. But I don't buy any of that. I really don't. Because throughout the entire episode, she was talking about her feelings and her connection with Matt. I don't buy it. I think that Kit saw the writing on the wall. I think she realized that these other women's connection with Matt was stronger than hers. And instead of her being eliminated by Matt, she decided to eliminate herself. And that's just my opinion. Bye, Kit. I tell you what, these women is dropping like flies. Just dropping like flies. First it was MJ at the beginning of the night, which was on last week's episode. Then it was Heather. After Heather, it was Abigail. Then it's Kit. I said, well, what in the world is going on? You are getting rid of everybody in one swoop. This is so crazy. So it's time for Josinia's date, and her and Matt are going to do something called drifting. So it's kind of like one of those Fast and Furious. Didn't they have one that was called Tokyo Drift? It was something like that, you know, speeding around in your car and then doing a whole bunch of turns and slides and smoke everywhere. They were doing that. Matt and Josinia had a really great time. It was a lot of laughs, but I didn't see any connection. I said, this is kind of like Katie's date. This isn't really all that romantic. While Matt was out with Josinia, the ladies were back at the house and they were saying that they didn't really see any connection between Josinia and Matt. And Michelle says, yeah, well, just because we don't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. No, honey, it's not there. There was no true romantic chemistry between Josinia and Matt. I just never saw it. So they're having dinner. And she's talking about her feelings for him. She's talking about a commitment when their families meet for hometown. And I'm looking at his face and I said, oh boy, that's that same facial expression he was giving Abigail. I said, watch out, Josinia. I don't think you're getting that date rose.
The love that I need to feel going into a hometown week that I have with the other women. Josinia and my relationship isn't there yet.
I'm sorry to see her go, but there was no chemistry. There was no moving forward in that relationship. So it's better to go now than just get your hopes all up and then wait at that rose ceremony with your heart beating 200 miles a minute to only not get a rose. Here we go, 5 girls left. And I said to myself, why doesn't he just come over to the house and send home the girl that's not staying? You know what I mean? You have to get down to 5. What is the use of even having a rose ceremony? What is the use of having all these women get dressed up to come stand there with their heart beating out of their chest? You've already sent all these women home. Just go on over to the house. Kit's gone. Josinia's gone. Listen here. You over here. You gonna go ahead and go too. You know what I mean? Why waste the ceremony? I'm just saying. They end up having the rose ceremony. There's 2 roses left. I said, yep, one of these ladies have to go. We got to get down to our final 4. Matt says how difficult this is, how hard it is on him. However, he lets them know that he is just going to go with his heart. Once the rose ceremony starts, Chris comes in and lets him know that this is the final rose. And we see that he has Piper and Michelle left. Michelle gets the final rose. When he walks up to Piper to walk her out, as he's walking her out, he says, I'm sorry. Piper says nothing. She gets in the car and that's it. I think he got the message. I cannot wait for the women tell all. And I can't wait to find out what is the Bachelor going to do, because right after the Bachelor is over, they're supposed to start filming the Bachelorette. Who's going to host that? Is Chris going to be back? I hope not, but we'll find out. And until next time, bye.